What kind of car does a sheep like to drive?
A ball.
A
you're so cool.
Lamborghini.
Oh,
Freaking Lamborghini.
so this is really cool. We don't get a chance to sit down and converse too much. We got Michael W. Smith in with us, and we're going to be talking about all things father, his new book, The Way of the Father. That title sounds like it should be almost done with a Yoda voice. The Way of the Father it is.
Yeah, The Way of the Father.
Yeah, I like this, but I'm really excited because I want to dive into some of this stuff with you because I'm a dad as well. How many kids do you have?
5.
5 kids. Do you realize that's a lot?
It's a lot of kids.
I had 1, and I lost her 3 times. So like I need to read this book because maybe I'm not the best father in the world. So that's what we're gonna go through. I'm gonna figure this out together. But you're also not the only one in your family to write a book, as I hear. Your mom has a cookbook.
My mom's got several cookbooks.
Does she really?
Yes,
now,
she does.
like when did that
Incredible.
start? Like years ago?
Long time ago.
Really?
Yeah, Cooking with Smitty's Mom was named one of the books.
What is your favorite recipe in your mom's book?
Well,
Like you grew up eating.
it's not the healthiest thing, but it's called spinach artichoke dip.
How is that not healthy?
And
Like it's got
fat.
spinach and artichoke.
Got some cheese in it. So.
Oh, well, okay. Your version of not healthy and mine are totally different.
I know.
Mine is Cheeto casserole. You know, like that's not healthy.
I love it.
Okay, well, what's the one item in your mom's cookbook that you wish she had not put in there? Was there something as a kid that she made that you're like, okay, that's just horrible?
Well, I never liked applesauce. I hated it. So.
You like applesauce?
Yeah.
But you like spinach.
I like spinach.
Man.
I really learned to eat when I came to Nashville.
Really?
Honestly, I was a pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers, French toast.
That's what's done this body so much good.
That's all I ate growing up. You know?
That's why you're going to outlive me by about 25 years.
Aw, come on. It's not too late.
Oh, it is. I have a feeling it is, sir. What is the best memory of your dad?
Probably just being on the baseball field every single day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You grew up playing baseball? Did he coach you?
He did. He played minor league ball. He was a really, really good ball player.
Really?
Yeah. A great ball player, actually. And actually had gone to the minors. I think he could have played the majors. He was that good.
Really?
And but he came back. He said, I can't do this because I have to take care of my mom. He lost his dad when he was 16. And he gave up his dream and he came back and took care of his mom.
Oh, wow.
Which is
That's
Which
admirable.
was my grandmother. And when my mom and dad got married, they moved in with her, thought for just a short time. They never left. So I grew up, my sister and I grew up with not only my mom and dad, but my grandmother in my house my whole life.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah, so it was great. So,
What do you think his best memory of you would be?
well, probably just seeing me succeed. I
Yeah.
mean, he's my biggest fan.
Yeah.
I mean, he was extraordinary. He was the kindest man I'd ever known in my life who happened to be my dad.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
he
you
really-
have that as a baseline.
He was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, I know he had faults. I just saw very few of them. I mean,
Yeah.
the only time I saw him get mad was when my songs didn't go #1. He couldn't figure that out. you
Well,
know?
he just goes nuts on record execs and radio
Yeah.
people. That's good. I'm glad I never met him.
Probably, yeah, I wouldn't let him do that. So.
What do you think is a lesson? Because I mean, we learn so much from our parents, sometimes subconsciously, and we can learn bad things and we can learn good things, you know? And so what is something that you think that you learned from your dad that you took away, whether it was a real conscious teachable moment from him to you or just something you observed about the way he was that you're like, yeah, this is, I'm going to implement this in my
Yeah,
life.
kindness.
Really?
He's kind to everybody.
And that's not always easy to do.
He was kind, and so I found myself doing mannerisms like my dad. Like my dad waved at everybody.
Really?
Waved at, and if he didn't know their name, he said, "Hey, old buddy."
Really?
You know, he just waved at everybody.
You're
So
that guy in the neighborhood that's always waving at people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's Crazy Schmitty. He's waving at
he
people.
was that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just, he took time for people. He worked in the homeless ministry. He was a deacon. He served
Wow.
his community. He just gave, and that's. But the kindness thing, I think, probably I learned from him more than anything.
That's cool. I lost my dad a few years ago, and I was there was some video of me running somewhere, and I realized that I run just like him. Like you pick up mannerisms,
Yeah.
and I run just like him. Unfortunately, it looks like this. Like that's what it looks like. And I used to always tease him about how he ran. And then it's like I'm 51 years old I'm like, oh my goodness, that's my dad's
Your
run.
dad.
I got his run, but okay. I think one of the things that I learned from him was like he real early on set the boundaries in our family for what was and wasn't acceptable. And he said, because how kids will try and play the parents against each other.
Right.
He always told me, he said, never make me choose between you and your mother because you'll lose every time. I chose her. I had you, but I chose her.
Right.
And I think that was like one of those life lessons for me that I carried into my family and into raising my daughter, and setting those boundaries. And I feel bad for people that necessarily don't have a great father role. I mean, do you think that's why God kind of set up this whole analogy or metaphor of him as a father to help us maybe understand that role better?
Absolutely. I mean, I talk about it in the book,
Right.
I mean, it's not only all these amazing stories about my dad, but I equate all that with the father heart of God. I say it and I really mean it. My dad taught me what God is like. In a lot of ways, he just could be kind. He's for me, and he affirmed me my whole life. And it's almost like all the promises of God are true. Kind of what my dad did. He literally just. I never heard him yell at me. I mean, I got the belt one time.
Oh yeah,
threw rocks and.
All right, you're gonna get that.
In the head and.
Like someone's head.
Drew blood and.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I never threw rocks again.
I guess.
Yes. Probably can't say that these days. Oh, I got the belt.
Oh my gosh, I know. I
we'll get into that.
You were abused. Michael W. Smith, just as was abused by his father. My dad too. Like one time I got the choice. This might have been even worse. Do you want to be grounded or the belt? I think I was like 13. And I'm right on that fence of like, I don't know if I should be spanked anymore, but I'm like, let's do it. And let's rock this, belt me, and that way it was over and it was done with.
Right.
But yeah, parenting is not quite the same. A lot of parenting books that would probably frown on this conversation right now. But you turned out fine. I don't know about me. What what would you say to somebody? Okay, we talk about God as our father, and you look at him, and it's supposed to be what the perfect version of a father is. But what would you say to somebody? How would you encourage them if they haven't had that benefit of having a great earthly dad to then equate to a heavenly father? Like, how do they get past that?
Right. Well, I think first and foremost, it's just really believing that he really loves you. He can get you through anything. I mean, I've got all these friends of mine who had horrific childhoods. Mm-hmm. I mean, I talk about in the book, my mom was abandoned when she was 8 years old. Her and her younger sisters and brother, Dee, Pat, and Bill. And my real grandmother said, get out of the car, you're walking home. It's only a block away. Mm. She wasn't a good mom. She literally drove off and never, ever came back.
Really?
Never.
Yeah, that's got to mess with you. Like, how do you process anything as an analogy of God being a parent? Well, if that's my version of a parent, I don't want anything to do with this God you speak of. Right. Like, it would be so hard to reconcile those two worlds, I would think.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to explain. I mean, there's so much mystery and why people have great childhoods like me and some don't. And I just believe God can get you through it. I think my mom had a real encounter with the Lord, and I remember we talked about that whole situation, and I remember her telling me, just going, I was determined when I was going to marry your dad, they were high school sweethearts.
Oh, that's nice.
That would never happen to our children,
Right.
And the crazy thing is, I don't talk about this in the book, but I met my real grandmother one time, and my mom saw her one time too.
Really?
At my Aunt Pat's funeral.
How old were you?
I was 20 years old.
Okay, so you were old enough to know.
I wanted to I wanted to give her a piece of my mind.
Really?
I didn't.
Because your dad taught you to be kind.
Exactly. There you go. But I watched my mom love on my grand. And that's the first time my mom had seen her since she left them at 8 years. And she just had chosen to forgive her. And that's why my mom is extraordinary. Just the power of forgiving someone who hurt you deeply. Pretty extraordinary.
It's not easy to do.
No.
I think forgiveness is one of those really tricky things too, because in your head you might think you've got it settled, and you're like, you know what, I've forgiven this person. They were mean to me. They were wrong. You know what? It's done. But then something will happen, and you see them again, and it instantly comes back, and then you've got that choice.
Yeah.
How do I proceed now? Do I continue to try and lean into that forgiveness, or do I give them the peace of my mind? And that's not easy. That's what makes forgiving, I think, challenging. I think it's something we do over and over and over again, not just once. At least me.
No, I agree.
Okay, good. I'm not a horrible
No,
person.
you're not.
Thank you. There you have it from Schmitty. Wally, not horrible. This is a great day. Affirmations.
I'm here to affirm you,
Boy,
Wally.
your dad did really do a good job with you. So, like here, what is something that in your book, is there something in here that would surprise people to know either about your dad or about you? Like, what's that, like a surprising thing that you go, oh, I never knew that about a good old Schmitty there.
Well, the baseball thing was such a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
You know, we threw ball every single day. Yeah, I just wanted to play for the Cincinnati Reds. You know, that
Really?
was sort of my thing and I learned it from my dad. I was a jock and I was a musician. I remember my first song when I was 5. It was awful,
Okay.
you know, but I was so into the
Was it
baseball.
Placing This Squirrel?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Facing this squirrel.
There you
Yeah. Okay.
We're
So
facing this world.
yeah. Okay. You had to work it out. Good.
Had to work it out.
So you were a jock too. When did the path diverge from like wanting to go into sports? I think everybody dreams of that. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be. Well, I knew I was going to be a basketball player because look at this height. So I knew that was a done for thing. But I played tennis and I wanted to play pro tennis and things like that. And then you just go a different direction. What was that divergent path for you? When was that?
Well, I didn't make the All-Stars. I was 15.
The meanest thing a coach ever did to me, I tried out for junior high basketball. I'll never forget this. Forgiveness. We'll get to that later. But I made a left-handed layup, and I'm right-handed, and I was also about 4'11" at the time. I was really tiny, and I made this left-handed layup, and the coach goes, anyone that can make a left-handed layup like that deserves to make this team. Last day of cuts. I'm like, yeah. So I run in there with everybody thinking I made it. Scroll down.
Make it.
No name on the list. I did not make it.
Wow.
That was devastating. I'm going to write a book about it one day, but not for today. When did you start doing music full time then?
Well, I was doing music all growing up, but
Yeah.
I was 15 years old and didn't make the All-Stars. And just, it's the only second time I walked down the aisle at my church. 10 years old when I had a massive encounter with Jesus. And then 15, I walked down and went up to my pastor, Stan Franklin. I said, Stan, I think music is supposed to become the part of the fabric of my life somehow. I think God's called me into this thing called music. I don't know how to get there. I don't know what the rules are. Would you pray for me? He laid hands on me and prayed for me.
Really?
Yeah.
And then the rest just kind of took
Well,
its
then I
course?
moved to Nashville, 4 or 5 years later, and 1978, waited tables, planted shrubs,
Mhm.
a lot of bologna sandwiches,
Yeah.
and then then started writing songs for this girl named Amy Grant, the Age to Age record.
That's
And
crazy.
So
You guys have known each other for eons, man.
long time.
Yeah, and it's got to be weird too to be like you're still like young, cognizant, vibrant, but like you're still considered like an icon in this industry. Like, is that a compliment or is it something you're like, oh yeah, I've still got so much more to do and say?
I think I have a lot more to do and say.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really pay attention to the whole, the icon thing. I mean, that's just a matter of opinion.
Sure.
I mean,
Well, for the record, you're an icon.
okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I won't argue with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if someone called me an icon, I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for years, but no one ever listens to me. Okay, so talking about your dad, the book, The Way of the Father, what TV dad do you think you would most be like? If you could compare yourself, I don't think you watch a ton of TV, but have you seen a show that you're like, I'm like that TV dad? That would be me. Mine's Tim the Toolman Taylor from Home Improvement. Because I like to make things and build things, but then I
Oh,
also end up in the hospital when I do it. So like that's my TV dad. And I always think I have a really great analogy and it usually goes awry. So that would be mine. What about you?
Probably I would think of Andy Griffith or somebody like that who's
Yeah.
just kind and a little bit funny.
Even keeled too.
Even keeled, just kind of chill.
You never saw Andy Griffith get riled, no matter what that
No.
little scamp Opie did. So I want to do something here real quick with you, okay?
Yeah.
High-low. Very simple.
Okay.
It's a high and it's a low. What's your professional high?
Probably doing a concert in Bahrain.
Oh, really? That's a place I've never been. I've traveled all over. I've never been there. What made that moment a high for you?
It was dangerous.
Yeah.
It was an adventure.
Yeah. I like that.
And there'd never been a faith-based concert in that country, and I had to be approved by the king to get in.
Really? That's
So-
kind of
A
dope.
little scary.
Yeah.
Lost my security.
Really?
and thought I was going to die. Started
Okay.
thinking about the movie Taken. They're going, I'm going to get shot tonight.
Does anyone
Well,
here have a particular set of skills? Because I could really use you.
Exactly.
All right, what's your professional low?
This is going to sound.
He's like,
great.
this interview.
No, I know. No. Hey, if it really was, I wouldn't say it.
Back to being kind again.
Exactly. I think the I'll never forget where I was. I was in a car heading to our place in Beaver Creek, Colorado, and Kentucky Rose had just released a radio, and some lady at a radio station in Florida had sent this is back in the day, sent a fax
Nice.
out to every radio station and said, "There's a thorn in Kentucky Rose. Don't play it."
Oh,
And
wow.
She said my song was New Age.
Oh, no, wasn't religious enough for her?
Well, because I just said at the very end, it said, and on that hill one flower grows. They say it is the spirit of Kentucky Rose.
Oh,
Kentucky
wow.
Rose was this farmer and preacher, and he gave his life for this kid drowning, in
Yeah.
a river. And it's people still want to hear the song.
Yeah.
And it was the least successful single of my career. Everybody pulled the song.
Really?
And I'll just never forget that going, that's just the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life,
Sometimes, newsflash, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, Christians struggle with metaphor and analogy.
Yep.
They're not the best at that. And sometimes you have to, I would imagine that would feel frustrating. Like you almost feel like you have to spoon feed somebody something so, obvious.
Right.
But then as an artist, you're like, I want to say this in a way that is lyrical, that sings and stuff. And so somebody missing that
Poetic.
point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so missing that point, that's got to be beyond frustrating.
Yeah.
All right, your dad high and your dad low. As a dad, you got 5
Me.
kids. Yep, as a dad, what was your high as being a dad?
Probably having your firstborn child.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow.
Isn't that an experience?
Amazing.
You go home and you're like, they should not let me home with this child. Like, there's no way. I don't remember anything they said. There should be a course. There should be an adult here with us. And I was like 24, and to this day I still was like, I cannot believe they let me leave with that baby.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I know.
You're the father.
Worked out, but I mean, kind of. What was your dad
love it.
low?
Probably I think about Ryan and I getting in an argument, and because he talked to Debbie, and I said, "You're not going to talk to her that way," and so we kind of had a little knockdown, drag out, not physically, but just
Sure.
You holler, you kind of get in a little shouting match, and then 5-10 minutes later, I'm just going, "Oh God, pull it together, come on, you're better than that,"
Yeah.
You lose your temper.
Oh, absolutely.
And all that kind of stuff. And you just go, gosh, I can't believe I did that. And I just would, to make it up, I just go, even if it wasn't my fault,
Sure.
I just go, I just want to say I'm sorry.
Kids can handle our imperfection. I really believe that as long as we do own it. And we go to them and say, look, I've really messed up here. Like I've had to do that a few times with my daughter, more than I'd care to admit, probably. What about a spiritual high and low? And then we'll get off this. What's your spiritual high and your spiritual low?
Spiritual low was when I went through a 6-month bout of depression in 1995.
I think that honesty is important. So you were dealing with that. What do you think was the catalyst in that?
I still don't know.
Really?
Yeah. And then I remember getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and going to my little yellow house back then when my studio was in Franklin. And at 4:30 in the morning, I started writing a song called "I'll Lead You Home."
I lead you home.
I haven't been the same since.
Really?
Something just sort of broke.
So out of that catharsis of writing the song from where you were at, that was for you, that was the start for that healing. Yeah, I don't think enough artists talk about the struggle in life. It's like I have a friend of mine that makes all these movies and stuff, and he's done like some Christian stuff. I think you were in one of the ones, the Jesus
Jesus
the
music.
Jesus music, yeah. And like his whole thing was like, I'm not interested in the scandal, but I'm interested in the story.
Right.
But I think that enough artists don't always talk about the struggle, and I think that that's what connects you to people. Is people go, oh my gosh, that's me too. Like I know there's times that I cannot prevent it. Like I see it coming, I know it's there, and I feel powerless in getting out of it. And I feel like, okay, I'm the worst person, I'm the worst believer, I should know better, but it doesn't cure for me, kind of thing.
The Jesus music thing is incredible.
Yes.
I'm very much involved in that film. it's pretty raw. So it's not just all the, hey, you're going to see some real life in the film. I think it's really, really come a long way. I think the last time I was here, I played a trailer. Did I play a trailer? Yeah.
I'm real curious.
Come a long way.
You're the executive producer, so you've seen the whole thing. Have you seen the whole finished thing?
I've seen it many times.
Many times. Okay, good.
And we're still. We're
Okay,
still.
so speaking of, I didn't make it, did I? You guys cut me out, didn't you?
Well,
Son of a gun.
never too late.
Yeah, I got cut out. This is a horrible way to find out I just got cut out of a really great movie.
You really don't know that. You don't know that for sure.
Oh, I pretty much know it by your reaction. Wally made the cutting room floor. Dadgummit, I knew it. Ah! All right, I'll still
The good
talk.
news is at the end of it says to be continued.
Yes, okay. I'll make that for sure. But no, I will tell you this, even without me in it, would have been great, but whatever. The parts I've seen of it are absolutely phenomenal. And the honesty and stuff like that and the stories you guys have are so good. And the Irwin brothers do such a great job
Did a
with
great
it.
job.
All right, so Michael, we're going to start with you. This is best worst joke. Lady Rock is going to be the judge. You and I will each tell a dad joke from a mug, okay? Now, whoever delivers it best will get a point, and you're paying for a fabulous prize. It is a #1 dad shirt.
Love that.
Okay?
I need one of those.
I know, and it would look good on you. And I
it
got
looks
it your
like
size.
he should win it because it won't fit you.
No, I got his size. And I already figured out. Betty Rock is the judge and jury, so I kind of knew how this was probably going
Point
to
for
go.
me.
I know. All right, so you grab your joke, I'll grab mine. Now, if Betty Rock can steal your punchline before you give the punchline, then your joke is out of contention and the other person wins a prize.
Is he
so
going first?
We'll start with you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. What would the Terminator be called in his retirement?
Terminate. I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be back. Did I get it?
She's just doing impersonations.
That's nice. Good. I like
Thank
that.
you.
Okay.
Arnold.
What is the joke?
What's the answer?
The answer? The Exterminator.
I'll be back.
The exterminator.
Yeah,
Okay, the
that's a good one.
Terminator.
These are all dad jokes. Okay.
Okay,
Now
okay,
here's mine. We'll
okay.
see how he delivered his.
Yeah.
What did the police officer say to his belly button?
Lint. You're lint belly button.
She gets
lint.
really hyper focused on something.
You're out. You're out. You're out.
Oh no, that would have been good for a baseball player. But this is a police officer. You're under a vest.
Under a vest.
You're under a vest. Heyo! No? Where are you going? Who gets it?
I gotta give delivery to Wally.
Yes! No one saw that coming, Schmitty. Schmitty's gonna lose another one.
I hate myself for it, but that means you're really gonna come around on the second one.
All
I
right,
believe
grab
it.
another one. All right, here we
Come
go.
around.
So we'll go with me first this time.
Okay.
Oh,
You go.
okay.
Okay. When does a dad? Oh, I'm already losing.
Uh-oh.
Darn it. When does a joke become a dad joke?
When Wally tells it.
No, it's a good joke there. When it becomes apparent. It's a heady one there.
It's a heady
Okay.
one.
All right,
Okay,
Schmitty.
I believe in
Okay.
you.
How can you tell it's a dogwood tree?
Because it's got ears. It's got a tail. No, wait. I don't know. It sheds. I don't know.
Roof. By the bark.
All right, he
2
sold
points
it.
to you.
He came to play on that one for sure.
Well done. Well
All
done.
right, so that is 2 down. So it's 1-1. This is the next one, and this is for the win. Here, you pick one, sir, and we will start with you for the win.
Really feel start with me.
Yeah, we'll start with you.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of car does a sheep like to drive?
A ball. I don't know.
Oh,
a
you're so close.
Lamborghini.
Oh,
Freaking Lamborghini.
that is going to be
Really
hard to
good.
top his delivery.
Good.
Yeah.
I had all the faith in you, and
Yeah,
you did not.
I really did love his Lamborghini. Okay. What's Forrest Gump's password?
A box of chocolates.
One,
Winnie.
one Forrest one.
Run, Forrest, run!
One Forrest one.
I get it, but when you yell it, it makes it worse. All to Schmidt.
I'm sorry. A Lamborghini.
No.
Lamborghini.
That's
Yeah! Schmitty, you have bested. You are winning the best worst T-shirt and the #1 dad. Congratulations, good sir. The book is The Way of the Father, written by one Michael W. Smith, and you can check it out. So thank you very much for being on with us, man. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
It was fun.